news. We cannot just sit and talk about opinion. You have to talk about the news on a news show. So this is not my opinion. I'm about to bring you the news. And the news is that Chelsea are very interested in Frankie de Jong. And we'll go straight to where that news is coming from, because it's coming from The Athletic. And this is what they are saying. The Athletic are saying that if de Jong were to be persuaded to leave the Nou Camp in this window, the impression is that the Champions League football makes Chelsea a more desirable destination than United. And more impactfully, this is the next bit, Chelsea are watching the de Jong mess of the situation at Barcelona with considerable interest. Tuchel is a keen admirer of Frankie de Jong. You may well have heard, and look, I think the Athletic have the right to have some credibility. We've also had Sunshine Gary Neville. I've been on holiday with Phil in Miami, and I spoke to some third party, and they've said de Jong to Chelsea's more likely. So that's what I'm thinking. Oh, mad for it. So Gary Neville has not spoken like that, because that sounds nothing like Gary Neville. I'm just hyper this morning. So Gary Neville's come out and said that from a third party, he's heard that de Jong and Chelsea is, a possibility. So the race is on for Frankie de Jong, I suppose, is what you would say first of all. I just want to hit this with what my impression on this is. And if we don't get Frankie de Jong, it doesn't reflect badly on me, and it doesn't reflect badly on you. I've not negotiated this deal. You've not negotiated this deal. Many of you would have walked away from this deal 2 months ago. I and some others would have stayed in the deal, but I would have been a little bit different in how I've done it, and we spoke about that last night. But I think the really interesting thing with this, if Chelsea are in the race for Frankie de Jong, and God forbid Chelsea do win the race for Frankie de Jong, that's obviously going to be a massive, massive embarrassment for Richard Arnold, the Glazers, and Murta, and you would expect big reactions to that from the fans. Now, we're going to talk about protests on Sunday that are apparently happening anyway. I think there'll be a lot more than that if they mess up this summer transfer window on one player that was very unlikely to come anyway, according to a lot of reports. We always believed they must have an inside track, and I still do. But I think one of the more interesting angles on this is if he did go to Chelsea, or Chelsea are interested in him, add up what Chelsea are interested in. Cucurella, 40 million. Sterling, was he 40 million? That's 80. Koulibaly, 40 million. That's 120. Fofana or Vardial, that's another 60, 70 million. They're approaching 200 million before they go for de Jong at 60. So Chelsea, who finished third last year, they're not Liverpool or Man City. They're spending in excess of £200 million. We've not spent 60 yet. That, I think, is an interesting point. Chelsea are spending serious money to try and compete with Liverpool and Man City. Man United, we haven't even solved the midfield. We've got no depth in the attack, and we've spent under 60 million quid. And we have spent under 60 million quid because I'm not adding the dividend payment on, and we've also sold Pereira to take the Malacia money off. So I think that's a really interesting angle, is not that Chelsea are in for de Jong, the fact that they're in for de Jong and have spent way more than us. I put a tweet out last night, actually, about the top 10 spenders in Europe. And people like West Ham, Leeds, Nottingham Forest are in there. No Man United. No new Man United with a new manager trying to catch everybody up. We're not in there. And some people will quite rightly say, well, we might be in there at the end of the season. But does that not show that a lot of these clubs are actually more switched on than us anyway? I would rather be in the top 10 now, 4 days before the start of the season, than spending money desperately when the season's already started, which is clearly what's going to happen. So let's wait and see what happens with this. But look, I would have to concede that Chelsea are interested in Frankie de Jong. I've always hoped that wasn't the case, but it's looking more likely that Chelsea are interested in him, and that is a big problem for Manchester United. It doesn't alter the fact that we are reacting to the news here this morning, and it doesn't alter the fact that I'm still 90% sure we'll get de Jong. It doesn't make me feel as confident as I probably did last night, but because if I'm honest with you, I think the big attraction. Look, I'll be completely blunt here, or I'm trying to think of the word. The big win for Man United with Frankie de Jong, I suppose, was that we were the only club in for him, and therefore there's no competition. And it's a bit like Bruno, and it's a bit like Sancho. You'll get there in the end. Might take 2 transfer windows, but you'll get there in the end because you're only horse in the race. If another horse is in the race for de Jong, then that other horse can give them Champions League football. better squad, better prospects. I don't blame him if he goes to Chelsea. I do not blame him if he goes to Chelsea, and I blame Man United for wasting all this time. So look, the reason I'm 90% is that 10% for me has always been, can United absolutely mess this up? And of course they can. But the noises coming out of United, Murta and Arnold have been pictured in Barcelona. They've absolutely put it out there for the last 3 months that they're confident they'll get this deal done. So it's trust. And I understand that people don't trust United, but new manager, new CEO, new United. Imagine if De Jong doesn't come to United. Like all these plans they've put in place about a new club, new this, new that. To produce the worst ever transfer in our history, and this will be the worst in our history, it'll be the biggest embarrassment. They can't. How do you come back from that? Jack, welcome to the Members Club. So we'll have to wait and see, but I do think we do need to acknowledge that Chelsea are in the race for Frankie de Jong. Whether they pursue that race, I think the fact that it's coming from The Athletic with journalists that are quite close to Chelsea, I don't think you can ignore the fact that Chelsea are in this race. And they're spending serious money. And I said that, I think I said it last night as well. Chelsea's transfer window has been chaotic. It's been all over the place. Missing out on Rafinha, missing out on Koundé. They want Fofana, they want Vardiel. They've gone for Dumfries, now they're going for Cucurella, now they're in for De Jong. They wanted Rice, they never did anything about that. It's been a chaotic summer for Chelsea, but I'd take their summer transfer window over ours every day of the week. Because one thing you can say about Chelsea is it has been chaotic, but they've been relentless and they've moved on and very, very quickly. And they're not getting some of the targets they want, but they'll move on to another target. And, there's even rumours that Chelsea want Anthony. So people can say that Chelsea are looking over our shoulder at our list. Well, more fool of us. More fool us. I told you Sky reported we only paid 9 million first season for Martinez, which makes our spend 12 million with Pereira sold and Malacia. We are a joke, says Jack. I don't actually agree with that, Jack. I'll be fair to the club there. I don't actually agree with, let's start adding up the instalments. We paid 75 million for Sancho. You take it as 75 million. We didn't actually pay 75 million. We're probably playing, if you want to be like that, we're probably playing Dortmund 25 million this summer. Are you going to add that on? I think you have to take the fee and you have to add that into the window. I know technically that's not correct, but it just gets very confusing if you don't, because we could be paying a payment for Bruno this summer as well. You just don't know. Hi Mark, do you think when De Jong comes we will see a midfield with him and Donny? Do you think that he will get De Fred, says Nicholas. I don't know what show you're watching, Nicholas, but I don't think some people think we're going to get Frankie. And seeing both clubs have new guys leading them, is it fair compare Chelsea and United in terms of their transfer activity? Chelsea and Manchester United in their transfer activities, because Chelsea want to catch Liverpool and Man City, and apparently so do we. One club is relentlessly buying players in the transfer window, whilst the other one is sat on their arse checking their online banking. Mark, nothing surprises me with this club. The Argala transfer window, even Cavani, I expect we are done with our transfers other than a panic buy, says Aram. Well, with every day, it's the 2nd of August, we get closer to the 1st of September when this window closes. And I've said this before, there's 4 weeks to go. When have United ever been efficiently quick? 4 weeks is nothing. 4 weeks will go in the blink of an eye for United. We might do nothing. We might get 2 players. We might lose Ronaldo and do nothing. There's lots of permutations. But that De Jong story is, I suppose the one positive I would say about De Jong is that it was always going to start moving this week. Barcelona need to get this deal done. De Jong needs to resolve his future. Man United, I mean, we'd probably sit there for another couple of years. Chelsea, if they are involved, they'll want to get it done quickly. I mean, look, on Saturday, Cucurella was going to Man City. On Tuesday, he's going to Chelsea. That's how quick Chelsea are acting. It's like bang, bang, bang. But one thing I would say, and The Athletic said this, they said that, Manchester United need to be realistic to the fact that they agreed a deal with Barcelona a few weeks ago and nothing's happened. But nothing's happened because De Jong wants the money he's owed. That's why nothing's happened. I mean, Chelsea could have a bid accepted today, but unless they're going to pay what De Jong's owed, I don't see that moving any quicker than what it is for us. But look, we'll just have to wait and see with De Jong. In life, you cannot, if you fancy a girl or a boy and you want to marry them, and other people want to marry them, and you just wait and go, well, I'll do it when I'm ready, and someone else comes in and asks them to marry them, then that's your fault. You've took too long. You cannot overestimate how good Frankie de Jong is. If Frankie de Jong goes to Chelsea, he's a fantastic signing. If he goes to Man City, he's a fantastic signing. You can't sit around for 3 months. You've got to get these deals done quickly. This is why some fans have become bored, irritated and frustrated, because you cannot just sit there for 3 months going, we're trying to sign de Jong, we're trying to sign de Jong. Because at some point, it's logical, another club is going to go, oh, we quite fancy that.